Today we're going to do another coat on this drywall mud so we can finish it. Before we do that, you want to sand it because you want to get it down smooth. You don't want to put a big whole lot of mud on here when you're skimming this. You want to go fine, or thin rather, and then lightly sand it. You start building this up, you have a big hump in the wall. That's what we're trying to avoid. So we're just going to lightly sand around the edges. And you'll see little areas where they need to be sanded down smooth. You can get them halfway down, because you're fixing to skim again, so it'll cover them up. We're just trying to smooth it down a little bit and run your hand over it, because you'll feel it. Right there's a big old ridge, so I'll take it down just a little. Now you start getting into gray, and that's the paper on the drywall. If you start seeing fuzzies come up, that's not good. You want to quit and just cover it with the drywall mud again. There's a big ridge right there that needs to be filled. But if you run your hand, if you can feel it, you can see it when you paint it. We have protection on the floor to catch the dust, because what you don't want to do too, if you get dust on the floor, what you don't want to do is use your wife's vacuum, okay, or your vacuum, however it may be, because this dust is so fine, it gets clogged up in your filter, and you continue to use it, you will burn up your vacuum, okay. Now shop vac, that's one thing, but your house vacuum, no, don't do that. Trust me, experience. The boss was not happy that day. Alright, run our hand over here, feel it, got a spot there, okay? We're going to do one more coat on this and it should be good to go. Alright, now, the next thing we're going to do before we start putting mud back on here, all this dust that we just put on here, we don't want there when we go to put the actual mud on, because it'll just build up little clumps in it. And that's going to make it hard to work with. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a sponge and some water and we're going to sponge it down. And you want the sponge damp. You don't want it soaking wet. Whoop. And we'll go over it like so. Okay. Once again, we have our mud, and we're going to put a little water in here again, just like we have in the past. About like so. And we're going to thin it down a little. Moving it back and forth and folding it in. Whoop, see, water dumped out. That's alright. Fold it over, get the outside edges back to the middle, and start again. Oh yeah, there we go. Now she's smoothing out. And remember, don't ever use the mud right out of the bucket. Always thin it down just a little bit. If you're doing a big job, you thin it in the bucket, because you're going to be using a lot of it on large projects. Because you always mix your mud in the bucket with a mixer. You don't ever just stick your knife in and start pulling it out and start using it. Doesn't work. Not good. Okay. Now we'll go big knife out. What I'm doing is really smoothing out the outside edges so we don't have a big lump, because you got to remember, whatever you put on, you got to sand off. So try not to use too much. Always feather your edges. Come away out here and push hard on the outside of your knife. Little places in the middle, you can sand those out pretty easily. Alright, that's it for that. And we're done for the day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.